Yeah, no, Boone. It was right here in Novak. We got done hunting all these legendary creatures, and they all came at the same time to attack us here in Novak. You got the Cazador, the Bloatfly, the Fire Gecko, the Deathclaw. There was even a Night Stalker here somewhere, but Ranger Andy?
That's not a good idea.
I don't know what to do. Guys, this is the third time he's come back to life. No matter how many times I take this guy's head off, he just keeps coming back. Some would say that it is absolutely wild. Yes, that is right. We are back with another episode of the Shaman's Horde, and today we are gonna go over the Wild Wasteland appearances throughout the game. Now, if you don't know, Wild Wasteland is a perk that you can get at the very beginning of the game when you're making your character. And what it adds, it doesn't add any stat changes or anything, it just unleashes the most bizarre and silly elements of post-apocalyptic America. Basically, it adds a bunch of references and weird little occurrences that you can only find around the Mojave when you have this trait. Ranger Andy is not one of them, but for whatever reason, he keeps coming back in my videos, so what a start. No, the first occurrence that you'll probably find is right outside Good Springs here. On your way out of town, I believe right before it asks you if you want to rebuild your character at all, you're going to find this fridge on the ground here, and you'll see that symbol in the top left. That means you're witnessing a Wild Wasteland only occurrence. So a fridge with a skeleton in it and a suave gambler hat. This is actually a reference to Indiana Jones, I believe the fourth movie, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, where he finds his way into a Nuketown testing site and has to hide inside a fridge to survive the nuclear bomb. So yes, we are looking at the Fallout New Vegas parallel to Indiana Jones. Turns out, a fridge will not protect you from the atomic wasteland. The next location is probably going to be the most useful Wild Wasteland area. It's going to be just north of the Griffinware's Sack Caravan, or right over here you have the Horowitz Farmstead. In the extreme north of the map, if you go, you might see three guys walking around, but let me tell you, they are not normal guys at all. Don't mind the ground, it gets a little bit glitchy and terrible. At the far reaches of the map, you'll see an alien ship hovering just out of bounds. And it turns out that the three people you see are aliens. Once they're taken out, you're going to want to come over and loot the captain and get the unique alien blaster and all the alien power cells you can carry. This alien blaster is only available if you have the Wild Wasteland perk, and it is a very good weapon. It has the highest critical modifier in the game at a 100, meaning no matter what your luck is, you will always get a critical hit with this thing. Now the only downside is, just like there's only one of the weapons in the game, this is the only ammo you're gonna get for it in the game. You have 166 shots with this thing. Or at least I do. It might be different depending on your luck. But get this weapon and use it wisely. Huh? Are you saying I should stab the next person I see? Is there a radioactive twister coming? Do you smell an ambush? Is it going to rain? Oh, someone must have fallen into a well. Let's go check out that well, boy. So this is a little unmarked quest that you can get if you have Rex as a companion and have the Wild Wasteland perk. At any time while traveling with him, you might talk to him and get that dialogue in which he will mark a new location on your map known as Jimmy's Well. So let's go check if Jimmy's okay. And here we have arrived at Jimmy's Well. Let's climb on in and check out the poor boy. Well, there's a mole rat here. Jimmy! Jimmy, are you down here? Oh. Jimmy. Well, I mean, might as well take his BB gun, am I right? Okay, and a super stim pack. So this is Jimmy, who got stuck as a well, in a well, not as a well. Like I said, you get this if you have Rex as a companion and have the Wild Wasteland perk. It is a reference to a quest in Fallout 2 that did much the same thing, and both quests are obviously a reference to an old show that I don't quite know when it came out, but it was about a border collie or a sheltie, one of the two, a dog, I always get them confused, named Lassie. If you've heard of Lassie, there's always the bit, what? Tommy's been falling down the well. He's stuck. Let's go save him. And, well, while he does get saved in the show, poor Jimmy here. Yeah, let's not talk about it. This next encounter is gonna happen the first time you exit Cerulean Robotics in Freeside.
Lucky what we have here, ladies. Another unsuspecting punks.
We are stopped by a group of 3 muggers, run by an elderly lady named Maud. So we have Rancorous Ruth, Irate Ida, and of course, Malefic Maud. This is a reference to a Monty Python sketch titled Hell's Grannies. During the quest, I put a spell on you when you learn that someone is breaking into the control tower at night. If you tell Captain Curtis that, then he will set up an ambush for you because, spoilers, he is the spy that's breaking in. But if you have Wild Wasteland on, he will say a unique line whenever he ambushes you.
You're getting too close, Shamus. I've got you now.
And there we go. You're getting too close, Shamus is a reference to Carmen Sandiego. Specifically the 1989 game Where in the USA is Carmen Sandiego, where a lot of NPCs will say that exact line to you when you're getting close to apprehending a criminal. During your time throughout the game, when you're fighting rats, you might come across an unnaturally large-sized rodent. This is a reference to the rodents of unusual size in The Princess Bride. Now I have one of these next to a regular giant rat, and as you can see, they are quite an unusually and unnaturally large size. As you're walking through the burnt down town of Nipton, you might come across this Star Wars reference in front of an old burnt down house. You will find the corpses of Owen and Beru, the aunt and uncle of Luke Skywalker. Although, not quite as sandy as Tatooine. Next, we have a couple more Monty Python references, the first being in Camp Searchlight in the easternmost church. You will find some holy hand grenades on the table in here. Remember, pull pin and count to 5. No, 3. 3. So remember, guys. O Lord, bless this thy hand grenade, that with it thou mayest blow thine enemies to tiny bits in thine mercy. 1, 2, 5. Wait, 3. And then in Cottonwood Cove, on the side of the main HQ building, you may find this writing, Romanus Eunt Domus, which is a reference to Monty Python's Life of Brian, where Brian is trying to write Romans go home, but instead he writes people called Romains, they go the house. During the quest beyond the beef at the Ultralux, you'll be sent up to a hotel room to talk to an investigator, but once you arrive, you will find his body dead on the floor, with his name being Crusoe. This, along with his appearance, is a reference to CSI Miami, or its main character, played by David Caruso. There is another one in the Ultralux. When you frame Heck Gunderson for the murder of his own kid Ted, you then tell a Securitron about it, and you get this scene.
Heck Gunderson, you're under arrest for the murder of Tank Gunderson.
What in blazes? That's my son you're talking about. He ain't dead. I'm looking for him.
It is my duty to inform you that murder is a serious crime. As a murderer, you should be feeling emotions such as guilt, sorrow, and shame. If not, you may wish to consult a mental health professional.
Where's my son? What'd you do with my boy?
I hope this experience has taught you an important lesson about the value of human life.
You can't do this to me. This is a mistake.
Dead or alive, you're coming with me.
The hell I will.
Stand back, citizens. Deceased bodies are a known source of illness.
Things are
and
getting stranger
a
every
potential
day.
tripping hazard.
Did you know the strips
The
all
line
stirred up
he
lately?
said, dead or alive, you're coming with me. Occasionally he will also say, your move, creep, is a reference to the movie RoboCop. Slightly northwest of the Devil's Throat, in the far northeast of the map, you will find an undetonated nuclear bomb in the ground here, known as the One. Now, if you have Science 60, you can tell it appears to be a dud. However, it appears as though the core components could be salvaged. You can disassemble the core components of the fission reactor, deactivating it once and for all, and getting yourself some nice bit of tools from it. Other than that, though, this isn't a reference to any outside media. This is just a random bomb that you can find in the game. And oh my god, is that the Vault-Tec logo? On your way outside of Good Springs here, you might run into a man named Barton Thorne, who tells you that his girlfriend is trapped up on a ridge surrounded by geckos and wants you to go help her. Now, once you get up here, you realize that he just was tricking you and wanted you to clear out the geckos so he could get to a stash up here. So once you deal with him, you can take a look around and you'll come across 4 red balls on the cliff here, along with a dead prospector somewhere. I can't actually find. This might be him, but I'm not getting a name on it. There's a dead prospector around here named Johnny. Now, this is a reference to a failed game project known as Zyborn Clock, in which there was a character named Johnny Five Aces, who did some weird time travel stuff, and it involved putting 4 red balls in a line or something. I don't really know. It was a failed game project, so sorry, I've never played it. During the final battle of Hoover Dam, if you tune in to the NCR emergency radio, you may be lucky enough to hear a specific line.
We must get to the control room and install the override chip.
Not that line.
Game over, man. Game over.
There is that line.
They're coming out of the walls, man. They're coming out of the damn walls.
And that line, between that and Game Over, man, Game Over, they are both references to the movie Aliens. Both lines...
Deploying Battalion 14 to the southwestern flank.
Both lines said by Private First Class William Hudson after his dropship has crashed on the planet. If you side with the NCR and are at the King's Gambit quest and have knowledge of Pacer's heart disease and his jet addiction, you can talk to Crocker about it.
Ah, hello. I trust you have something to report concerning the Freeside situation?
I wanted to talk about the situation in Freeside.
Yes? Do you have something to report?
I discovered that Pacer is a jet addict and he has a heart condition.
That could be useful, but I'm afraid I don't have the background and know how to take advantage of that knowledge.
I was hoping you'd know.
Damn it, I'm an ambassador, not a doctor. You'll have to find some other way.
And that line right there is a reference to Star Trek, specifically Leonard Bones McCoy. Whenever he says, "Damn it, Jim, I'm a doctor, not a..." whatever he says in the episode. If you have Wild Wasteland on while listening to the radio, you might hear a few special lines from Mr. New Vegas that other players will not. The first, "You know, I tried to measure my charisma on a Vitomatic vigor tester once. The machine burst into flames," referencing the special machine you use at the beginning of the game. He also says, "Stay classy, New Vegas," a reference to the Anchorman, the legend of Ron Burgundy. And finally, Mojave, Mo Problems. Am I right? A reference to the notorious B.I.G. Mo Money, Mo Problems. Doctor Who fans might find this one a little recognizable. The Securitrons guarding the Strip North Gate will shout a specific line whenever in combat.
Exterminate.
Exterminate? That is clearly a reference to Doctor Who with the Daleks, and I forgot to turn my God mode back on. So that's going to do it for all the Wild Wasteland occurrences in the base game. There are 3 of them that I just could not get to trigger at all. So I'm going to go over those now. There's one here in the King's School of Impersonation. If you have Cass as a companion, occasionally she'll get catcalled by one of the kings here, and she'll just say, "Ain't nothing but a hound dog," which is a reference to a song by Big Mama Thornton. Another one that I couldn't get to trigger was from Motor Runner, the leader of the Fiends. Whenever you go to kill him, you should be able to warn him that the NCR sent you to kill him, and he will call his 2 dogs, whose real name are Gnashbone and Bone Gnash. He will call them something. He will call them Donnie and Marie. But I could not get that one to trigger at all. And the last one is when you're walking around Freeside with a vilified reputation, some of the locals will start to call you a witch, which is obviously a reference to Monty Python and the Holy Grail, because they also add on, "You should be burned for all the people you've turned into newts." Well, that's going to cover everything in the base game, but if you think the references stop there, then you should stop watching this video right now. But we're going to head into Honest Hearts next. This one's super easy. The first time you enter the Dead Horses camp, right before you enter Angel Cave, you'll see this guy pop out, do a fist pump, and run right back into the cave. Wild Wasteland, baby! The second and only other Wild Wasteland occurrence in Honest Heart happens in the Rite of Passage quest when you go to talk to Whitebird.
Hola, outsider. Welcome, child of omens. You come to receive visions of truth?
And it is the line he says after you say, "What?" I don't know what Visions of Truth means.
Take drugs, kill a bear. Seek medicine plant.
Take drugs, kill a bear. Stay in school, kids. In Dead Money, when you have Dog as a companion, and yes, it has to be dog, not God, he will have a special line whenever eating ghost people.
Nom nom nom. Dog getting full.
And there we go, that is the line, nom nom. It actually took me a little bit to get it, but we got it eventually. The first time Dean Domino kills a ghost person, he should get a unique line of dialogue as well.
Getting real tired of tourist season. No offense, but you guys are lowering the bar.
So he did say it there, but it was cut off by another line real quick. It is that he's not dead, it's a trick. Get an axe. That line only pops up if you have Wild Wasteland. And finally, on your way to the bell tower for the big gala event, when you get into a wine cellar, you will find this written on the wall: I am not your mummy. This is a reference to a 2005 Doctor Who episode, The Empty Child, where a lot of London is infected by a plague, where humans are transformed into beings permanently fused with gas masks. Kinda similar to the ghost people. Moving on to Dead Money, as you walk into the Magneto Hydraulics Complex, I don't know why that's like that, but as you walk into the Magneto Hydraulics Complex, you'll find 4 walking eyes dotted around the perimeter. There's one to the left as you enter, one on top of the building there. It's going to be one on the desk, and there is a 4th one somewhere that I do not know where else in the area. I don't know what these are a reference to, but they are a Wild Wasteland perk occurrence. Likewise, as you're walking through the crater outside, you might hear a message from Dr. O shouting, "Attention, Ludbottomites, do not neglect to wash the walking eye." That too is a Wild Wasteland occurrence. Down at the Higgs Village portion of the map, you may find a unique Deathclaw enemy over behind one of the houses. In the doghouse here, you will have a unique Deathclaw named Stripe. He was a little feral, had to put him down. While inside the X7 left field artillery launch, you may hear a garbled intercom message that you can't understand, and then it will end with, "and then explode and die." This is a Wild Wasteland occurrence that I could not get to show up, so I'm explaining it here. There are actually a couple of references in the X8 Research Center as well. As soon as you enter the high school test, you'll see this Wolverines lettering on the wall. That is the first of 2 occurrences. And then one of my personal favorites, after you finish the first high school test, as you're wandering through the next area, if you turn to your left, you'll see a bunch of cyberdogs playing poker. A reference to a very famous paintings of actual dogs playing poker. This next one is another little fun one over at the construction site. You will find 7 dwarves, all with pickaxes and a few lanterns gathered around these red crystals. These are Snow White's 7 dwarves, obviously, and I can't dig up the shovel, but makes me wonder what's in that grave, you know? Since you know, the 7 dwarves are here, but she's missing. At any location that has Y-17 drama override harnesses, you may hear them say a line, "Hey, who turned out the lights?" This is yet another Doctor Who reference to a villain named Vashta Narada. I hope I got that right. I don't watch Doctor Who. Just slightly northeast of the Big MT West Tunnel, you will see this truck that seems to be halfway into the rock face here. But on the license plate, it's kind of hard to see, but it says Rokit 88. On this next one, when you're talking to Dr. Mobius, I didn't feel like progressing all the way to that point in the DLC just to get this one reference, but when he is talking about the plans that he will implement towards keeping the think tank in check, he may mention having to implement Plan 9, but without the Wild Wasteland trait, he will say Plan C. So Plan 9 is the Wild Wasteland trait kicking into effect. For the final reference in Old World Blues, you're gonna want to exit the you're gonna want to exit the think tank and follow the wall left, and you'll find this little diagram saying Kilroy was here. This was actually a famous bit of graffiti in real life pertaining to World War II. In Lonesome Road, more specifically the Cave of the Abaddon, you'll find a petrified corpse of a dog named Seymour. Now, I believe this is a direct reference to the Futurama episode. If you've seen Futurama, you definitely know the episode. It's about a dog that waited at the pizzeria where Fry worked for years and years after Fry got sent to the future. And it ended up waiting for so long it petrified in place and died. But little do most people know, this is a reference to a real life tale in, I want to say, Japan. I don't know the name of the tale, but if you looked it up, you'll probably find it. If while traveling through Lonesome Road you find the unique Deathclaw named Rawr, you will get his talon from his death and you will be able to craft the Fist of Rawr. However, if you have the Wild Wasteland perk, it will be renamed to Fist of the North Rawr. Obviously a reference to Fist of the North Star, the classic anime. And the final Wild Wasteland reference for not just Lonesome Road, but for the whole game that I know of, is going to be on this terminal here in the 3rd Street Municipal Building. The password is guessed. It just automatically signs in for you. You don't have to hack it or anything. And that's about it. But I'm going to go ahead and end it off there. Thank you all for watching if you've made it this far. If you know any other Wild Wasteland occurrences that I didn't list here, or if you maybe got one of the ones that I couldn't get on camera, or if you know any of the references that I couldn't point out throughout this, definitely let me know down in the comments. Spread your knowledge with the other people watching the video, and I will see you all next time. Bye-bye!